Westworld's going great. I've just banged a couple hookers. I've killed some people. It's going fantastic so far.
Did you find the center of the maze? Of the maze?
I did. It was a piece of junk toy. Can you believe that?
Spoilers. Yeah, if you were really really perverted, you would have been like the center of the maze is like it's finding the clitoris.
And as we all know, we would never find that.
Yeah, that's why everybody could not find the center of the maze. That's why I was out in the middle of nowhere.
How's it going, Mr. Cody? How you doing, man?
Good. Congratulations, a year.
I know. Lots happened since then. I got married. We all moved in together, and got a new job. So it's crazy year.
It's finally started coming in.
That's good.
My balls dropped. Yeah.
Congratulations. It's like New Year's Rockin' Eve. Balls drop.
So yeah, no, a lot's happened. What about? Since the last time we talked to you, a lot of stuff's happened. Especially
for us, we've had so many movie reviews. For you, I know you're the big star out here in the Sacramento area, and having done the podcast with us, how much has your life changed since being interviewed by the Chew on this?
It's podcast? Crazy. I'm actually taller since I met you guys. I finally had a growth spurt. It's the same old, getting up way too early and going to bed way too late. That's about it.
So so what you're saying is you're letting your listeners and all of our listeners know your life has been a lot better since being on the podcast with us.
Absolutely.
Are you still ironing your own shirts though? Is that the question?
Sadly, yes, I still am.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's the only time I get is they iron the shirts. That's it. That's all I get.
So we're actually here at WB and CW, not WB. God, that would have been awesome too. But we're here at CW, CW and CBS, and we had a little snag. Cody forgot to tell the security guard that I was coming, and I was stopped at security.
And we got new security. They're packing heat.
What was weird was when he put on the rubber gloves.
I didn't realize they're that thorough.
I know.
Wow, that's amazing.
Did he think? Did he think you were from North Korea or South Korea?
I will say he did have warm hands.
He was very gentle.
Yeah, he was nice. He just he counted down every time. So this is our 1 year anniversary show, and thank you, Cody, again for coming on. And
thanks.
So when this will air, we're recording it a little bit beforehand. It's the magic of editing and Hollywood magic. But I wanted to ask you, because when we got you on last time, we were really heavily into talking about the CW shows and the crossover was going to happen. I was not part of the Cody flash mob for the
you son of a.
You know what actually happened that week was kids were going to bed at like 8:30 every night. So it was either that or dealing with that.
So I understand.
I had to watch it later too.
Yeah, I had to.
There's just no way around it.
They went to sleep. But so now that it's finally happened, what did you think about the crossovers?
I thought it was amazing.
Really?
I honestly just the logistics of what they had to do. Okay. I'm still trying to get my brain wrapped around, because each show, had the theme of the crossover in it, but each show still was basically the core of their shows. Like Arrow wasn't as lighthearted as, say, The Flash was, or Legends of Tomorrow. They just kept and how they kept that all separate, but still had all the players go through. I thought was pretty amazing.
Other than Supergirl just had it sprinkled in. That was a regular Supergirl show. We actually reviewed it, and we were I'm guessing you didn't listen to our.
Do not listen to our podcast.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, we had problems with it. I can agree with you that logistically it was probably a nightmare to do. But we felt like it was so out of place, and because the shows flow really well with the major storylines over the course of the year. But with this crossover, it was just like a one and done. But it was a major event. Yeah. Meaning, like, if aliens attack the Earth, you just don't go disappear from what you're doing or come back from what you were doing. Like, it was no big deal. And the fact that it was aliens that were attacking Earth, we just felt like it was My opinion, and let me know if you think this is a good idea or not.
No, you're wrong.
Already wrong. All right, moving along. I thought that the crossover episodes, should have probably waited until after the main storylines were done. But the crossover plot that they had was, I felt, inherently already built into the Flash. That he had Flashpoint, because remember, Flashpoint was just one episode and they kind of talk about it sporadically. But I felt like since it affected everybody in that universe, that Flashpoint could have been the major crossover episode to try and fix everything. Now, that's being said without knowing that what they have planned for whatever else is happening on Flashpoint. But as a viewer, I thought like, oh man, it would have been cool if they, we're always changing something throughout the show, other shows, and not telling the audience. Like the whole Diggle thing, that he has a son instead of a daughter.
Ooh.
They could have not told us that it was, and just did it, and then fans would have been like, "What the hell's going on? Why does he have a son all of a sudden?" And the producers were like, "Just wait."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was revealed that this is the crossover going in.
That's a pretty good idea.
See, now that you heard it.
Oh, now you've turned me around. It was terrible. I want my money back. No, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Because it was such a big event, and it apparently affected other places, know? And it would have been so great if they didn't tell us anything about how it affected the other shows. Then you complete the storylines for what's going on in Arrow, what's going on in Legends, what's going on in Flash, and then you end the week before the season finales go, for whatever seasons they're in, like in May. The week before that happens, that's when you drop the big crossover event. So that was my idea.
That's a good idea.
You do work for CW, so
yeah, they don't return phone calls.
Yeah, get us in that writer's room.
There you go. I try to talk to Greg Berlanti all the time, but he never calls me back. I don't know why.
I think he blocked me at some point in time. After I told him to stop using speedsters as a means of getting a villain.
So I think he stopped. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that he stopped calling me after I bashed Green Lantern to hell and back. But
well, he deserved that.
Yeah.
Whoa! I think he just hit you in the head right there. We heard like this zapping noise.
That was probably a speedster coming through. Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Like, I know our favorite show was The Flash. It's slowly starting to become repetitive to us with a speedster in every single season.
Yeah.
And usually somebody being not who they are. Like, it would not surprise me if Savitar pulled off his mask and it was like Wells again. But our slowly favorite show is now starting to become Legends because of we had mentioned that it's kind of reminding us, or could be reminding us of like Quantum Leap, where they can start fresh every single show while still having like a major plot line. Yeah. Because there's no limit to what they can or can't do.
And they've really owned up to the goofiness this season, and I felt like they, like last season it would be kind of goofy and kind of not goofy, but I feel like this season they're like, okay, we own it. This is going to be the goofiest of the bunch. I'm with you on that. I also think Arrow is kind of flipped for me a little bit because last season it was more like work for me to watch, I was like, I'm gonna watch it, Yes. But this season, I felt like they've really turned the corner on it. I like where they're going. Although the bad guy this season, not Savitar. Savitar is unplayed. See, the crossovers ruined me because I got everything going.
It's forget his name.
Prometheus.
Have you guys noticed? Like every time they say Prometheus or Prometheus does something, they play this weird music. And I think it's Galaga. It's Galaga. It's a music. And every time they do it, I'm like, oh, the ship's coming down. And I got
shit. Now it's going to be annoying for me because that's all I'm going to remember.
That's what I'm here for.
Galaga now.
To ruin your lives. That's what I'm here for.
Because I said a while back, like Felicity used to be one of my favorite characters on the show, and then I picked up on her acting tendencies, which is no matter what she's saying or what the mood is, she says something really quickly and mumbles the tail end of it. and I said it to BJ, and now that's all
every
he thinks
time.
about.
Yeah, you're ruining.
And now
it
that
for
I said
me.
it to you,
Don't ruin Felicity for me. This is all I have. This is all I have, boys. Come on.
My favorite of the crossover was Arrow, actually. Or actually, no, the season finale was the last 10 minutes were really good.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about the tech guy being Team Arrow now? I thought it was so unbelievable that the tech guy is I forget his name.
Oh, Mr. Terrific?
Is that his name? That's why he has the T on his face?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's so annoying.
Oh, that makes sense. I thought it was for terrible.
Because it's basically like 2 weeks of training, and it's like, oh, go out without a bulletproof vest and attack.
Well, he was like, I forgot what they said. Like he was a Olympic athlete in something. So they tried to give him like a little bit of.
I mean, Diggle
in Taekwondo.
No, I think it was more like fencing or something.
And he doesn't carry a sword. Diggle makes more sense, but I can't. I hate Diggle's costume. It just looks looks weird.
It's better this season, but last season's helmet was.
It looked like
terrible,
It looked like he got like a Fisher Price or like Power Wheels helmet, and like painted it black.
These are so cruel.
No, we love Diggle though. We like Diggle a lot.
Yeah, we were afraid of coming on and talking to you now because our opinions have kind of changed a little bit about this. Some of the CW shows,
they flipped.
Shows. Yeah, like it used to be the Flash, but like we the things we loved about the Flash were things that we never seen before. The time travel, the fact that he could affect the timeline. But then when it becomes like, okay, what do we do in this season? And then you keep doing it. It no longer becomes something cool. Now it's happening all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys read a lot of Flash comic books over the years and stuff.
Not since probably the late.
No,
90s.
it's been a little while for me.
It's just chock full of speedsters.
Yeah,
his whole universe and stuff. So I don't mind it so much, but it is getting a little repetitive.
As a viewer, though, if you don't know that, it's the same things when we talk about Marvel movies and DC movies. Like you can't put something out there and just expect people to understand that that's what the comic books do.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to actually sit there and say, as a viewer, do you want to keep seeing the same things over and over again? Probably not.
Yeah.
So what we loved about The Flash so much was that it was different, but that it's starting to become repetitive, and that's why we started changing towards the Legends, because they could do different things once they got rid of Vandal Savage, which was we didn't like.
Well, yeah, he was an eyesore.
Yeah, that was that drug them down last year because they were like, oh, that's that guy again, and let's go get it. Oh, he escaped.
That's so many times to kill him at some point in time. One of my biggest pet peeves about Legends is that the Atom is so underused. Is that he's basically the most powerful one they have there, and they don't use him the way that he could. Like he literally could just stop every time they go up against the baddie or something like the baddie of the week. He could solve it by himself. Literally from that suit.
Yeah.
And it's not being utilized the way that it should be.
They had a major plot point happen. Like he lost it. He had to sacrifice his suit, which was like heartbreaking. And then like 2 episodes later, he's got it back again. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which I still don't remember how he got it. So I'm like, okay. And now it's bigger and better than ever. So, and he said it took him like a lifetime and a ton of money to build it. And yet how did his new suit pop up?
Well,
it was in the closet,
when you're making like something, you do it for the first time. The first prototype is very expensive, and you go through those things, and then you do it again. It's much easier.
Like the iPhone's getting smaller.
Well, I just think it's funny how it's very convenient that Cisco just pulls stuff out of his pocket half the time. He's like, "Yeah, check this thing out that I built." I'm like, "When did you have time for that?"
It used to be about him actually working towards it. Now he just pulls out these like, hey, I was just working on something, and here's this interdimensional thing that Supergirl can just call us on.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, between fighting aliens and, organizing this whole thing and going back in time, when the hell did you build this thing?
Yeah, Wynn is kind of like that in Supergirl, too. He's like, oh, here's your new suit. Go for it, Guardian.
What do you think about the Guardian being on that? With what's his face being the Guardian,
Jimmy Olsen, James Olsen,
James,
very handsome James Olsen. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I've really enjoyed Supergirl this season, though.
Season,
I felt like going from CBS to CW has really let them kind of, explode a little bit. It's not quite. I don't know. Last season, I watched every episode with my daughter because it's just fun. And in this season, I've actually enjoyed watching every episode more.
there's probably a reason why you don't listen to our podcast.
You guys are so hard. Like, I just want to be entertained.
We're hard. We are hard. We are hard. There's certain aspects of that show that we do like, but it's gotten goofy.
And like my biggest pet peeves, I don't want to speak for BJ, but my biggest pet peeves I don't care what you tell me, but when you build a universe, make the things that you do make sense in the universe.
Okay.
And in that world, James Olsen gave me no indication that he is at any point in time ready to throw a line down that says, I've been training for this my whole life. No, you haven't.
You've been taking pictures. You've been taking photographs your whole life.
There's a version of Jimmy Olsen in the comic books that has special forces training or something like that. But in this version, I don't believe he does have that.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think they've ever said much about his backstory. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and other than being this like 6'4" guy that you probably wouldn't mess with, but still doesn't mean he's ready to fight crime every day in a suit. So things like that kind of always bother me, where they're like either for convenience or like name dropping. It's why I don't watch Gotham, where they just bring in everything. It's like, oh, what are we going to do this week? Well, we haven't done anything here. And the problem, I don't know if we mentioned this last time you were on, but the problem with Gotham is like, well, you're showing all these bad guys, right? And Bruce Wayne is still like 16 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
So by the time he becomes Batman, all of these people are going to basically be senior citizens.
Right.
So like what like and they still jail them. So like why do you need Batman? You're doing the GCPD is doing a great job.
That's true.
So there's really no reason to have a Batman in that world.
I always I like Gotham. My son loves it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves it. And so what I try to do when I'm watching Gotham is just look at it and try not to let it sink in too much, because it is the way they shoot it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the settings and stuff.
Yeah, it is gorgeusly shot.
But if you start thinking about this stuff, you're like, oh my God, my brain is going to melt. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Like Penguin will probably be about 60-something.
Yeah.
The only person that will be the same age as Catwoman, I believe, and Poison Ivy will be the same age as
they
Bruce Wayne.
pushed her up.
No, they reintroduced Poison Ivy. She's like old and hot now.
Yeah.
Older and hot.
She's like in her 20s now or something crazy.
All right, well, then she'll be like a cougar by the time Batman comes in. I don't like I like certain things where it's a nod to the fans, but I don't like that to be your show.
Right. Okay, I get it.
Every part of it is just like, hey, here's an Easter egg.
One large Easter egg that has nothing to do with anything. Yeah.
So what about so this is going to release in 2017. I know you're always busy, but what do you have to look forward to as far as movie goes next year?
Next year, War of the Planet of the Apes. That looks so good to me. What else is coming out next year? When's Wonder Woman coming out? That's 2017, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
July.
Is it July? Yeah, I'm the latest trailer that they sent out, I thought was amazing for Wonder Woman.
We have high hopes for it, but because it's DC, we're kind of apprehensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if Marvel had it, I'd be like, oh God, it's going to be as good as it looks. But as far as all the trailers that they've released for all for the movies, that one looks the best by far. It looks better than Justice League. It looked better than Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Definitely looked better than Suicide Squad. So we had high hopes for it. We were just talking that, DC had two opportunities where they could do something that Marvel didn't do, where they had a bad guy team up, well, they completely tanked that, and then they have the first female-led, superhero movie. So we're hoping that they get it right with Wonder Woman.
I hope they do, and then hope it turns it around, because I really am rooting for those movies to be good. But Batman vs Superman, I watched it again the other night like an idiot. I was like, it can't be as bad as I thought it was.
It is.
It is that bad, man.
HBO, right?
Yeah.
Me too. I was telling BJ in the car, I was like, every time I catch a scene from HBO, it pisses me off more.
And then Suicide Squad, I wanted to like it so much. I did. I went in there and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here?
Did you see the honest trailers for Suicide?
Yes.
Okay. That was pretty good.
When Captain Boomerang, when they said, when he was at the bar, and they said, you can leave if you want, and he leaves, he's like, screw you guys, and he walks out, and then like 5 seconds later, he just joins back up with them, and I was like, wait, he left, what just happened there? They never explained it.
Or
and stuff.
Superman dying at the end of
and
then coming back 5 seconds later.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
It's always convenient. They always do that. They say they're going to do something. Then, I mean, he was actually a human boomerang, right? He just like left the room and flew right back in.
Oh, that makes sense now. Okay, now I like the movie.
Yeah, boomerang-esque thing he did in that movie.
He threw a boomerang at a guy and hit him in the head, and then he didn't go pick it up. I'm just like, aren't you supposed to pick that back up? You know.
I love those comic books, man. I love Suicide Squad. That's like my favorite thing to read.
Yeah.
And the movie was just a hot mess, man. It was just a hot mess. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They just released a trailer, and that was amazing. That looks like so much fun. That's about it. You know,
Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Oh, God, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, that trailer was, as we're taping this, just came out, and that looks great.
Yeah.
Looks great.
I can't wait for that one. There's so many good things coming out next year. I didn't even know War of the Planet. We didn't even know War of the Planet of the Apes was dropping that day, and it came out of nowhere. And those movies have been so good. The Caesar or Circus has
Andy Serkis.
He's just so good at what they do over there.
They really need to be nominated for something. Those motion capture guys need to start getting. They need their own category at the Academy or something because those guys are phenomenal.
There's nothing like it out there. Like nobody does what they do that looks like that.
No.
Like in the first movie when Caesar said no. I mean, that was like the most incredible. I remember being in the theaters and everybody going, like all a huge gasp and stuff, and because it just seemed so real. And you're like, holy crap, the thing just said no, you know. And the second movie was amazing. You're right. Andy Serkis needs some sort of Oscar recognition for his work because it's
just
truly
have a category just called Andy Serkis.
Yeah, there you go. And Andy Serkis wins the Andy Serkis Award.
Yeah, he would have been nominated last year for like Snoke and his portrayal of Caesar or something going against himself.
I'm sorry, Andy's not here to pick up his award tonight, so filling in is special captured Andy Serkis. I was up at. I have this friend of mine, they call her Skipper, and she started this skipping movement for adults. Okay, so she skips everywhere, and it's for health reasons and stuff. It's called I Skip. And we decided to skip across the Golden Gate Bridge. And so we went on the Marin side, which is the ape side.
Right.
You know, and that's all I could think about because, like, you're there in the woods and everything. We're on that side. And I was like, this is the ape side. We should probably get permission, you know. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you guys don't see these movies? They're fantastic.
You goddamn nerd.
They're all like, you're so weird. And I'm like, no, it's the ape side. So I've got a buddy of mine that lives in Chinatown.
Yeah.
And he's got a rent-controlled apartment in Chinatown. So he's never going to leave this apartment.
Right,
you know,
right.
I think he's paying like $450 a month or
Kinda
something
like Friends.
insane.
Oh.
Exactly. So, but the funny thing is, every movie that is set in San Francisco always shows his apartment. Like they use that as a thing. But his apartment has been destroyed in Godzilla. It's been destroyed in the Planet of the Apes movies. It's like 6 different movies. Like he'll call me, oh yeah, they're destroying my apartment again.
It's like Hollywood picks like a city every decade to just completely destroy all the time.
Right. Like usually it used to be New York all the time.
Yeah,
now it's
in the
San
90s
Francisco.
it was New York and the White House.
Yeah.
And they stopped doing that. Now it's like, let's just destroy the West Coast.
It's always San Francisco.
I think it started with X-Men: The Last Stand.
Yeah.
When he just leaves the fucking Golden Gate Bridge just in the middle of the harbor.
Have you ever like watched one of those movies, Cody, and then like called your friend up? You're like, "Are you okay, man?"
We totally do it every time, man. Like we'll take screenshots and send it to him. I was like, "Hope you're all right, man," because that Godzilla really wiped out your apartment.
That's right. One of the major reveals was right in Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
I hope you have good insurance, man.
Well, he should. He's only paying $450 a month for an apartment in San Francisco. He better be investing in something. Insurance should be.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's ridiculous. How did he luck into that?
I don't know. I think he's been there forever too.
That's crazy.
Like I would die in that apartment. I would never leave that apartment. That's it.
You could rent it out for like $1,000. And it would still be cheaper than anybody else in Chinatown. It would be a steal.
My God. Could you imagine a $1,000 apartment in San Francisco? You're right. People would like clamor all over themselves for that.
That's crazy. And Chinatown in San Francisco isn't very big either. It's only like 4 blocks.
Yeah.
So he's like, is he right at the entrance or?
Yeah, I think it's right next to the entrance.
Okay. You have to point him out like off air, and then I'll be like, I'm going to look out for this guy's apartment all the time being destroyed. I was like, oh, I know a guy of a guy. See that apartment right there?
Window.
Yeah.
Poor Chris Postoloff. They just killed him.
See that guy right there? That where King Kong just like fell. I know a guy of a guy, and that's rent controlled. That's a great commentary. That's a Blu-ray commentary.
People in the theater are going, shh.
Shut up.
You just say out loud. You're just like, John, no.
Rent controlled right here, this apartment. So you're always here. So like I said before, I'm here at the studios here. So it seemed pretty laid back, you guys. I saw a little bit of the taping today. And you guys are pretty laid back with what's going on there.
Yeah, it's fun. We, everything is live and kind of off the cuff. So it's funny because there's part of the staff, the producers and everybody are trying to control everything as much as they can. They come in really early in the morning and they got this plan together and they're like, okay, we're going to do this and this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then it just goes straight to hell. It just goes straight to hell. Somebody will go off on a tangent or a guest will do something. Next thing you know, we're off on another tangent and they're like, oh, God, all my work is over.
Or somebody with a suitcase from a podcast comes in right in the middle of taping.
Yeah.
That just sounds like us, like every week it's off the cuff.
And then
rarely any notes, just kind of basics about what we're going to talk about.
And if you just go with it, it becomes like jazz, it's just kind of fun. But if you're so concerned about everything being perfect, you're going to go crazy. Because Good Day is never going to be perfect.
I didn't even know that there was a band there today because the giant cameras were blocking it. And then you cued for one last time, here's such and such band. And I was like, wait, there's a band here? And then all of a sudden I hear this Christmas music. I'm like, oh yeah, because these cameras are huge. I didn't even see what was going on.
They're robotic too. One day they're going to get self-aware and kill us all.
Like in Westworld?
Yeah, exactly. So when I first moved out here, I was doing I got hired by CBS 13 to do their morning show, and they were owned by this company called Sinclair Broadcasting. And I moved out here and everything, and then they told me, they were like, oh, by the way, your insurance won't kick in for like 5 months. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did you just say my insurance won't kick in for 5 months? They're like, yeah. And I was like, if I had known that, I would have taken the other jobs that I was offered. But so I had to pick up a second job. And so I was doing weekend mornings on NBC 11 down in San Jose. So I would work during the week and then hop on a train on Friday, and it was awful. And we just had a baby and stuff. It was really hard.
Right.
But when they just got those robotic cameras in at NBC 11, and we're sitting there on the air, and all of a sudden one of the cameras just freaked out. And it ran right into the other camera, and they just started playing just hitting each other over and over again, and they couldn't stop them. And I was laughing so hard, and they were like, no, this is not funny. I'm like, no, this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. Like they were jousting or something. It was great.
And the fact that you don't think it's funny is even funnier.
Yeah, exactly. Let's keep it going. Go to break. No, let's watch this some more.
Yeah, somebody get a handheld and watch this. Should paint one blue and one red and see which one's standing.
Yeah, exactly. To the death.
So what's the best show? What's the best since we talked last? What any segments stand out a lot?
Oh God.
No more cream candy, right?
No more cream candy. Oh, what's the good stuff that we've done? I'm blanking. That's terrible. Terrible.
Stubbed you.
Yeah, you stumped me. I for the holidays, my neighbor made me a elf costume, like an Elf on the Shelf costume. So I've been wearing that a lot, and we did. And I've been trying to do this for 3 weeks. We did a press conference with the Elf on the Shelf. It was so funny because I come out there in my little costume, and everybody's peppering me and questions and stuff. And they're like, "What's going? How's the toy production going?" I'm like, well, we managed to make the hoverboards a third less explodey this year, so we're on track with that. It's so ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Have you? Do you got on the road still a lot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any quirkiness that stands out?
Oh, I got one for you. I went to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and we had this stupid shark costume. So I wore a shark costume as I'm interviewing all the people at the Monterey Bay.
Oh my God. Candygram.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Land shark.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So you were King Shark. Actually.
I was King Shark, yes. And they were like, what is this? And then after, they got into it after a while. But I totally made a little octopus ink, though. I felt bad. I walked up, and they turned on the lights, and it went,
man.
It was Hank. Ink. It was Hank.
Yeah, it was Hank.
Do you have our King Shark here?
What's that?
Do you have our King Shark here?
I do.
Oh, I got to take a picture of it.
Yeah, it's over in the Weather Center where we were earlier.
Oh, cool. I'll have to take a picture. BJ, you had something?
We don't have anything for you this time. So
yeah, it's only first time.
We don't have any gift. That's just one time only.
I was promised a gift, I believe.
It was the gift was the conversation that you're having right now. It'll just keep on giving.
Is there a receipt? Can I return it? Or?
We actually don't do receipts. It's non-refundable. Again, self-funded podcast. So no refunds.
No refunds.
If we actually refunded people, we would go under.
Okay, let me over with. Since it's your 1 year anniversary, let me like yell at you guys for a while. Let me ask you a question. Nice. Was I wrong about Steve Stan Sweet and the Star Wars collection? Was that not the coolest thing you've ever seen in your whole entire life?
Believable.
This is how much stuff that he had. And this is not a bad thing ever, but this is just a funny way of saying it. He had so much Star Wars stuff that I was tired of Star Wars at the end of the day.
Yeah.
and again, it's just a funny way of putting it. But it was so like, my God, it was Star Wars overload. And as a Star Wars fan, and that like, and somebody who collects too, that's like the mecca. But I can't describe it any better than that. Like that, the fact that he could make a Star Wars fan feel like he was just done with Star Wars for the day. And that's a good and bad, like it's a good thing. That's how much stuff he has. And the stories that he had were ridiculous. I feel like I could sit there for a month and still wouldn't get a quarter of the stories that he has.
I always like it when he goes, I got that one. Oh, I can't tell you where I got that one. And there you go. And then I get this one over here. And then don't ask me where I got that.
Yeah, the fact that he remembers like a story for each thing that he has, it's always the tour is always going to be different. Basically, I mean, he always hits the major highlights, but you could point out anything and he knows a story about it. And then what's crazy is the stuff's actually sitting on the other side of the warehouse too. Like he has an entire section where you don't even get to see most of the stuff. There was so much stuff.
Vic got to go with him back there because they needed to get a table and chairs for us to set up to podcast for him. And Vic came back and he's like, "You're not going to believe what I saw over there." And I was like, "What?" He's like, he had a full size Jabba in there. I was like,
that was like taken apart. Like there was a big it's the big like when you go to the major Star Wars conventions and all the slave Leias take a picture in front of the job. He had that whole setup like in pieces though, but he doesn't have the room in the warehouse to set it up.
He plans on creating something back there, like a cantina or a Jabba's palace or something back there. He needs a lot of money to do it though, so he said it's going to take a while. But thank you very much, by the way, Cody, for giving us that info to get a hold of them, because they were super, super, super cool, super accommodating. We had a great time with them. We were there for hours.
I just felt like you guys had to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like you two had to see that. So that was what you needed to see. Now, speaking of Jabba, did I tell you the story before? I had this thing, the Jabba the Hutt, the original Jabba the Hutt. There was 3 guys in it, 3 puppeteers in it, and I went on a quest to capture all the guys that were inside of...
You did not tell us the story.
Did I not tell you the story? So I tracked down the first guy, and he was totally cool, and he hooked us up with the second guy.
Was he the left arm or the right arm?
He was the left arm. He was the left arm, and he operated the eyeballs and the tongue.
He was ass.
And then we got the second guy because of him, and the third guy was in the tail. We couldn't get him to nail it down, but I almost collected all of them.
Did it smell in there? Jabba smell.
He said it was terrible.
It must have been really hot as hell. And
yeah.
It's like the rubber smell.
I bet.
Yeah, and it was, it was back in the day too. These things work a little bit better now. And they're not quite as smelly. And he said, "Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible, Cody."
I hope that they.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just going to ask the same thing if you've been back there, but also that they're making a Han Solo movie, and I'm curious as to if they're going to bring that puppet back. If they're going to rebuild it, because I don't want CG Jabba. I want practical effect Jabba.
I feel like they would do a practical effect.
Now
Jabba.
they're going back. They're making it very adamant that they want to stay away from what made the prequels look so fake. So they try to do as little CG as possible, especially with the creatures and stuff.
Yeah, some of these Rogue One creatures look amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them are other than the robot, are going to be all puppets because again it's back before New Hope so they have to get that look and feel the same. You said you're not going to Rogue One until like afterwards. Are you guys going to be at the theater to?
Oh, I'm sure.
Are you going to be there?
I hope so. What other nerd would they send?
Are you going to get dressed up?
Yeah, of course, man.
Did you have your costume already?
Yeah.
No, but we've got a couple costume shots that hook me up, when things go down. When episode 7 came out, they sent me down there, and I was down at IMAX, and I'm down there with everybody in line, and we had like a contest where people could spend the night and they get to see it first and all this stuff, and it was really cool. And the guy that runs it was like, Cody, I saved you and your photographer a seat. I want you guys to enjoy the movie. And I'm like, oh yeah. So as soon as I sit down, I watch like 5 minutes. Producer gets in my ear. Hey, we need you to do like 10 more hits. So could you come? I was like, you son of a.
Oh, I remember that. You had to leave.
I had to leave. So this year, kids are a little bit older, so they want to go, but they're not like, we need to go the first night, so I'll just wait a little while.
How old are your kids?
12 and 8.
So are they actually starting to get into Star Wars? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Did you show them the prequels?
No.
Good parenting right there.
I know.
Good parenting.
I've saved them.
Done right.
I've actually kept my oldest, she's only 5. I've kept her away from Star Wars, even though she knows like the characters like Rey, and just because I want her to know that you can be a girl and be a powerful. Yeah, exactly. But I haven't shown her any of the movies because I want to give her what I never had. I don't know if I told you this, but like BJ actually saw all the movies in the theater, so he was there when the "I Am Your Father" meant something. When me growing up, I'm a little bit younger than BJ. I watched it on HBO, on Laserdisc, VHS. And it was already pop culture by that time. I knew what was going on. So that reveal was completely lost on me. It would be like I see dead people, or Bruce Willis is dead the whole time, times like 1,000. Like that kind of reveal. I was robbed of that because of when I grew up. So I'm trying to keep her away from it as much as possible. And then just at the point where she might start understanding like deeper level things in movies and she stops just watching cartoons, that's when I'm going to show her the original trilogy and see her reaction. Like I'm going to actually try to video record the reaction of the "I Am Your Father" section, so that I want to give her the thing that I couldn't get was that feeling of like, oh my God, no way he's not the father, I just watched a great documentary too about that, about David Prowse.
Still remember it. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was 7 years old, and that was like traumatic for me when he said that. It was like I was like almost crying. I was looking at my parents going like, "Why?" and and then like 3 years later, I'm 10, and Return of the Jedi comes out, and I'm like a little bit older and wiser, and I'm like, "Kick his ass, Seabass!" Yeah, so like,
oh my God, how much older am I than you guys?
I'm 30. I just turned 38.
I'm
43.
Yeah, I'm 46.
Okay, so you and BJ are pretty close.
I hate you all.
Yeah.
So I was just saying, I watched an incredible documentary on Netflix right now. It's called "I Am Your Father," and it's the story of David Prowse. Did you see it yet, BJ?
I have it on my queue. I haven't watched it yet, but
okay, so
I know what you're talking about.
So spoilers. Apparently, David Prowse, without knowing what he was doing, he actually said in an interview before they even knew that they were going to film a sequel and before the sequel even started writing, the script wasn't even written. He actually said in an interview to somebody, it would be really great if Darth Vader came back and during the middle of a lightsaber fight, he told Luke that he was the father. Before anything was written. So the idea of Vader becoming the father was not even discussed as a script yet. Like that wasn't even an idea that apparently Lucas had.
That's a dude that knows his character.
Nope.
Yeah, he apparently and the way that the documentary films it or edits it, it makes it almost seem like that Lucas might have taken the idea from him.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. And there's actual proof because he had he had the what's it called when you go to the library with the old newspaper clippings?
The microfiche.
Yeah, and he actually printed it out. So there's physical proof, like in 1977 when the movie came out, in an interview, that he said this. I was like, holy shit,
that is a guy.
That's a foresight, right there.
You know. So he, there's no doubt that he's like one of the most amazing storytellers out there. But when you have someone create something and then you have outsiders like putting their input in, like outsiders that aren't close to it, they can come up with crazy cool ideas all the time. So when you're that close to it, I don't think you could see it. The only person that I could say that has the amazing foresight and creates everything in their own world is J.K. Rowling. She just knows. She knew everything about Harry Potter before she wrote anything. Everything was all laid out. So with Lucas, though, I don't think Star Wars was all laid out. There's things that point to him, getting input from other people and then just like either claiming it as his own or just kind of letting it lie. Like just people going like, "Oh, you're amazing! Like it's so cool you came up with that." But the guy that wrote Empire with him, I think came up with a lot of the cool ideas. That's why I'm really excited about the Han Solo movie. And that's why Force Awakens was the way it was, because of his input into it. Anyway.
But the other cool part of that documentary, which was awesome, was the director of the documentary asked David Prowse if he would redo the Return of the Jedi scene where Vader is revealed for the first time or for the only time, because they got that different actor to play Vader.
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, Sebastian Shaw. And he didn't even know that he was out of that scene. Like, they didn't tell him.
Really?
They never told David Prowse. They actually filmed it without telling him.
Oh.
So the director of this documentary asked him, like, would you want to recreate that scene, but now you play Vader and you redo the lines? So there's a shot of him actually talking to Lucasfilm. And you can hear the person from Lucasfilm saying, like, David Prowse can't be associated with, the Vader costume, and you can't show it. So they went ahead and said, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. So they filmed it. You see him putting on the mask. You see him coming out, like, he's a little hobbly, but he's still like 6'4", even hunched over. And he comes out, and I started getting nostalgic, and they lay him down on this like cardboard, or this like the ramp from Return of the Jedi, from the transport, and the whole background is green screened, and he's laying down, and it's this guy who's from the back. It's like he's not obviously Mark Hamill, but he's like dressed in the Jedi outfit, and you just see his backside.
Wait a minute, when did they film this? When did they film this?
Well, hold on, let me finish, because they film it, and they only showed it. So you see the behind the scenes, right? But they don't show it in the documentary because this was going to be a documentary that was going to make money. So they couldn't show it because Lucasfilm said you can't do it. So what they did was they filmed it anyway, showed the behind the scenes stuff, and then only showed it to 35 people. Friends, family, and David Prowse. And that was it. They showed the Return of the Jedi scene with David Prowse as Vader.
Oh, man.
Okay, but when did they... Did they film it back in 1982, or did they film it recently?
No. This documentary was released in 2015 or 16, so it was recent, but it's not online.
Is it? Oh, I got you. So the thing that I had questions about, I never Googled this, but they've kind of like banned him from going to any kind of Star Wars events. Was that because he was bitching about that, or because of his background? Or?
In the documentary, it says that he said something that he wasn't supposed to say about the movie. Like, it was Return of the Jedi. It was apparently an extra, and they actually got the person who wrote the article, or who was the main person in the article about what happened back in like 83. So some extra apparently called the newspaper and said, "Hey, Darth Vader dies in Return of the Jedi." And for some reason, because David Prowse had always been kind of loose lips beforehand, they said David Prowse said it. And then it got back to Lucas, and obviously he was livid because the movie had just started filming. So it wasn't even like released yet or in theaters, and telling everybody that Vader was dead in the movie. But they got the original reporter and said that, like, he never said anything. It was somebody else, and somehow between the main reporter and it being released to the paper, that David Prowse's name was attached to it. So all of this is one giant misunderstanding, and Lucasfilm doesn't want to hear anything about it.
Could you imagine how
that's ridiculous?
You tell all your friends and family,
yeah.
I'm totally Darth Vader, and then they take the head off and it's somebody else, and you're like, son of a...
It took 4 people to be Darth Vader, actually. There was the stunt guy who ended up doing a lot of the stunts in Jedi. Shaw, who was his face, and then James Earl Jones, who was the voice. Even James Earl Jones says that like he's just a special effect. That he's not Darth Vader. It's David Prowse that's Darth Vader. He's just an After Effects thing. Like if you were to CG something, that main character is this person and the CG is the After Effects.
You don't know this, but I was a cape. So was it, I think last year we had Admiral Akbar on the show, Eric Bauersfeld, and he just passed away.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because Admiral Akbar was like my favorite character when I was a kid. I don't know why. It was a fish eyes or something like that. But it was so cool to meet him in person. And I feel bad because he passed away, and I made him do like the silliest thing ever on the show.
No.
We played It's a Trap with him. And so I would flash up things on the screen, and he would look at it, and he'd go, oh, it's a trapezoid, and so it's like a like 2 guys in a trapeze, and he goes, it's a trapeze, and it was so stupid. And I'm like, Eric, I feel so bad now. That was like one of the last times we got to see you, and I made you do this stupid thing. But
that sounds hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
That's what he's going to be remembered for, though.
It's a trap. Yeah. It's a trapeze. So dumb.
Oh wow. So if you get a chance, check out that documentary. It's really good.
Oh, for sure.
What I'll do tonight.
Really awesome.
I don't need to sleep.
Oh, I'm going on
awesome,
I'm going on 3.5 hours of sleep right now.
Being a dad's fun.
We really appreciate you taking the time, man. It's been really good talking to you. We always have such a good time with you, so I'm looking forward to doing this again in the future. Hopefully with me with you guys next time.
Well, I want to have you guys on the actual show.
We'd love that.
When you guys decide to release this and stuff, let's have you on Good Day, and we'll plug the podcast and everything and talk about your adventures over the last year.
I got to start working out.
Well, I haven't been. I don't know why you would start.
Do you have any wide-angle cameras?
Yeah, I need like a
I always tell
people to pan out.
I always tell people like pear is a shape, so I'm in shape.
Well, we really appreciate it. This was fun.
Like always, you spent more than enough time, and we appreciate the time that you spend with us. And it's been fun sitting here in the studios and looking to see how it worked. It was really cool to walk in. I thought I was making too much noise walking in.
Oh, please.
When you guys were
Are you kidding
filming.
me? We'll have like marching bands walking through while we're doing stuff. One day, it was so funny. I actually took one of those 360 panorama pictures of it because it was so weird. We had on one side of the station a 6-foot-long sandwich, like a sub sandwich, and then there was like the people from I can't remember, some animal sanctuary had like giant birds and stuff on, and then there was like a kids dance group as well on the stage, and it was the funniest thing. I'm like, this is what I'm staring at as I'm trying to read that prompter, is like all this weird crap around and stuff, and I was just hoping the giant birds would attack the sub.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen.
Yeah. Great.
Whenever you have that 6-foot sub back, let us know.
Okay.
That's what they will film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Italian BMT. Promos. Yeah. You're watching the promos and we 6-foot sub day.
Yeah. We'll come on National Sandwich Day. We'll move our anniversary show to coincide with National Sandwich Day.
Exactly. National Donut Day or something.
Ooh. Oh yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Oh, there's this great donut place in Folsom that you got to try. We seriously free plug a lot of places. Like I free plugged Gamefly.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get paid.
Yeah, Gamefly.
Omaha Steaks.
Omaha Steaks we did once. When we do a drunk podcast, we plug the liquor that we're drinking. Nobody's listening.
Nothing.
Nobody.
Come on.
I mean,
that was our biggest one. That was our biggest download, actually.
Yeah, just give us a free bottle of something.
Yeah,
anything. But luckily, when we come back, there'll be like a spread here for us.
Done.
Can we get a cake like that says happy anniversary to these podcasters. We have no idea who you guys are.
Them misspell everything.
Yeah.
You know?
You guys are like, I hope you brought your own food because
it'll say like happy anniversary the Nerdist. I'm like, no, that's not our podcast. That's the good one. That's the good podcast.
Where's Chris Hardwick?
Oh, it's you two. I thought it was Chris Hardwick.
You guys look nothing like Chris Hardwick. I've seen him on AMC. You guys look nothing like him. Well,
yeah, but I'm starting to look more like Kevin Smith though.
Yeah, I know.
The older I get.
Well, thanks again, Cody. Thanks again for taking the time and
congratulations. I mean, it is a big commitment. I don't think people realize how big a commitment it is to do this.
A weekly show, yeah. I mean, well, you're on every day, so you know. Like, I mean,
yeah, but I'm contractually obligated to show up every day.
You're like, I get paid.
Yeah, you get paid. Yeah, we've slowly started to see our numbers go up. But we try not to, because it's our own funded podcast. We don't really pay for advertising. We did pay for advertising once for the Steve Sansweet episode, just because it was just going to be a big deal for us to be there. But maybe we'll pay again for this one dropping, especially if we get on TV.
Yeah,
we'll have to mention that if we do end up being on TV.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
We actually have Cody on record saying that. So if
absolutely, no, that is a serious invite.
Is that a weekend deal?
Weekend deal, baby.
Saturday or so. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Awesome, perfect.
You know what's sweet in the deal is if you got the guy from the cream candy.
Yes, yeah, because I really want some. I want some bad now. I've been craving that.
God, if I could find that guy,
that would be hilarious.
I'm sure he's still kicking it someplace, man.
Or he passed the recipe down to somebody else who's doing the cream.
The
candy.
next generation cream candy.
Yeah. Now you can order it through an app.
Yeah, exactly. It's a joke's on us. It's probably like international, and he makes trillions of dollars.
Yeah, he probably owns a small island now. Cream candy island.
Where all the misfit candies go to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Cody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks
no
again.
problem. Yeah, and congratulations. It's really cool. A year is an amazing commitment you guys have done.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Until, that was Cody Stark. And this is Chew on This, our anniversary episode. I'm BJ.
Vic.
Well, that's the end of our 1-year anniversary show. We'd like to thank, Cody. We'd like to thank Kenny. We'd like to thank all our listeners, all 5 of you. We would like to thank, again, Rancho Obi-Wan last year. We'd like to thank just everybody. I'd like to thank our sponsors, which is Vic and myself.
Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you for supporting ourselves. Thank ourselves for supporting ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's been a great year, and we have a lot of really cool stuff coming up this year. We don't want to give it away, but we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And we just hope we keep gaining listenership, and all you guys out there are supporting us. Thank you so much, and we look forward to giving you more reviews and cool different types of podcasts. And anything you want to say, Vic?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the same people, but also Stephanie Rector, who actually
gave us our first shot.
Yeah, for the West Sacramento Intergalactic Expo, she has made actually a lot of this possible. A lot of the local nerds in the area we would have never been able to talk to if she didn't reach out and actually not listen to our podcast and say, podcast for us here. So I think her not listening to our podcast really helped.
Yeah. You can listen now, Stephanie.
Yeah, you can listen now, Stephanie. Obviously, our friends and family who support us, especially our family who have to put up with us, doing this type of stuff that they don't get.
How many different times would be like, honey, can you go take out the trash? Like, I can't. I have the podcast right now. And they're like, damn it.
Again, you have to do it. Yes, every week.
Yes, we have to do it. 9 o'clock.
Every week
Sorry.
now. So actually, if you guys want us to keep doing this, you really need to start giving us money.
Yeah, or donuts or beer.
Not donuts or beer.
Something.
If anybody knows anybody who would like who needs sponsorship, or has a sponsor out there,
yeah, we would plug the heck out of your stuff for sure.
If your stuff, if whoever your sponsor would be is okay with cursing.
Yeah,
like I'm pretty sure Huggies wouldn't want us. Huggies or Johnson & Johnson wouldn't want us like
Dick and Dick.
Yeah, wouldn't want us. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the reason why they wouldn't want us like promoting their stuff. You got to try this fucking baby oil. It's fucking awesome. Or try this baby shampoo. Or
do you know how much shit Huggies can hold?
I threw up one in once and it didn't leak.
I just let my kid prance around the room for hours.
Yeah, it holds so much shit you wouldn't believe.
I'm wearing mine right now.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks again for everybody for listening and supporting us. And you know what? We forgot about Brian Stewart. There's actually no podcast without our good friend Brian Stewart, who actually who is our technical person. He's our like IT technical.
Yes, without him, we wouldn't have a place for you guys to download from.
There's literally no podcast without Brian. So special thank you to Brian for allowing us to not pay you for using your server.
Without Brian, it would just be a couple of idiots recording, and
on
it's
YouTube.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah, you'd have to listen to it on YouTube, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. So thank you, Brian. Well, that was episode number 62, our 1-year anniversary show of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
And Happy New Year, guys. Until next week, chew on that.
Later.